In the Work Together 16.1, it tells us that we need to record the appropriate adjusting entries on page 18 of a general journal provided. We're going to use December 31st of the current year as our date, and we need to make sure that we're saving our work because we will need it for 16.2 Work Together. So we are going to be looking at the worksheet that is found on page 425. Also goes on to page 426. Okay, so you need to have this worksheet out and available. We are going to be journalizing those adjustments off that worksheet into our general journal. So it already has the page number in there. We're on general journal page 18. What do we need to put first before we start journalizing? Good, we need to put that label in there. So we're going to put adjusting entries. What is my date? December 31st. Okay, what is my first adjustment? Worksheet, and we're going to just go down the line on our worksheet. What is our first adjustment? Allowance for uncollectible accounts. That is a credit. Now, when we are journalizing, should we list our debit or our credit first?
Debit.
Debit first. So what is the debit account? We will see that it is the uncollectible accounts expense. This will help to have those letters there because now when we look down the front page, we see that it is labeled as letter E. We look on that second page and we're going to look for adjustment letter E, and we're going to find that here. So our first account is going to be uncollectible accounts expense. And that is a debit of $1,500. Our credit account then is our allowance for uncollectible accounts. And that credit is $1,500. Okay, what is our second one? Merchandising inventory. And this is a debit, so I'm going to list that one first. What is my date here? 31st. Do I have to write that in there? Yes, because I'm showing that this is a new transaction. Okay. Merchandise inventory for 1848.25. Okay, that was letter D. I need to find letter D on the next page. That is a credit, and that is to what account?
Income summary.
Income summary. Why is it not an expense account? All the rest have expense accounts. Why is this one not an expense account?
Do we own that merchandise? We don't.
Do we have a merchandise inventory expense account?
No.
No. That's why we use income summary. Okay, because we don't have an expense account. Okay, we're going to do another transaction. We're still on the 31st. Our next one is for office supplies. So this is the credit account. We need to find the debit account. Our debit account is what? Supplies expense office. and that is a debit of $1,448.55. That credit then is to supplies office. Our next adjustment what's our next adjustment? Supplies store. Okay, so it's going to be much like the one above. We're going to have supplies expense store, and we're going to have supplies store. Our next adjustment.
Prepaid insurance.
Prepaid insurance. And what is the expense account? Because that's going to be the debit. What's our expense account? Insurance expense. Three more. Next adjustment.
Accumulated depreciation of office equipment.
Good. Accumulated depreciation for office equipment. So we're going to list the expense account first. That's going to be depreciation expense. Our next adjustment. It's going to be just like this one, except we're going to do store equipment this time. Do you have to write these accounts out? When do you shorten them? If you can't fit it, that's when you can shorten it. Otherwise, you have to write these completely out.
Or they shorten them in the worksheet.
They couldn't fit them in the worksheet.
Oh.
And our last one. Our federal income tax payable. What is the expense account? It's way at the bottom here, so don't miss that, but here's our federal income tax expense. As of right now, I have your guys' test scheduled for next week, Tuesday. Okay, I think it's, yep, next week, Tuesday. So you guys have that heads up. You have a long weekend.
Wait, when did you say this?
Next week, Tuesday.
Okay.
What?